All right, Mesa. So we're going to be looking at your mechanics from this week's past bullpen. On the bottom, I have CC Sabathia, who I believe is very similar to you. Of course, I have him inverted on the right, so he's now throwing from the right side. So we have a very similar style here, rather than it being lefty-righty. So I'm going to play both for you. Feel free to watch either both or yours or whichever one, but here we go. Now, a couple things to know about your mechanics and his mechanics. I just want to run through yours one more time again here. Here's the thing. Honestly, you have pretty good velo. There's a formula that I use that is mass. Oh, I don't know what I did there, but okay. Okay, mass. Oh. Sorry, this is also very new software still. Mass equals gas. M equals G. What I mean by that is the more mass we have, like you and CC have, the more gas we're going to throw, the more velocity we're going to throw. And mass doesn't necessarily mean body weight, doesn't mean whatever. It means the amount of surface area we have on our body and matter in our body. So that's good for us to work with to start off. Looking at our mechanics, we have pretty sound mechanics. Arm is back here, which is really good. Arm's back there. Glove hand. We need to, honestly, the one thing that I would say is get this and flip it around. What I mean by that is we want that thumb to be pointed up, but the palm to be pointed at our target, which is the plate, if that makes any sense. Now, there is something that I will say to you, Mesa. I think, even with this, like, great mechanics, follow through is good here. We're getting out front with that. There is one thing that I think we could do so much better. And I think it's really using our lower half. Because watch how Sabathia uses his lower half here. If we look at how he uses his lower half. He really gets down. He really rides this ramp down. And the big key to that is keeping this butt towards the plate here, right? Versus if I'm going to build you a ramp right here, you don't necessarily ride it. You ride it till about this point and then kind of just veer off there. So how can we do that? How can we work better? Number one, keeping that butt towards the plate just a little bit longer, even though you do actually a pretty good job about that. Honestly, I don't even think that's the problem. I think it's just working this back leg just a little bit more, just a little bit, and really driving it. Because honestly, Mesa, you have a lot of power that's just not being used. You really do. Like, look at where we're at right here and versus the stance that CC has. CC has a lot more of a powerful stance right here. And even though this is a good stance, and we're landing great too, by the way. This is really good. This is exactly where we want to be. We have a good arm angle there. We're actually really, really solid there. We have really solid mechanics. But the only thing that really I'm going to analyze is just that really getting into this back leg here. A great drill for this is sitting down in a chair and basically you're kind of barely getting up and throwing. That's how we really get that backside to start to use our back leg a lot more. Because honestly, Mesa, I think personally, just seeing how your mechanics are, you have really great mechanics. So we're fine on that aspect. Besides the glove thing, that's really about it. Also, maybe tucking this glove hand right here just a little bit more. That is something we can easily just fix. But really, I think if we figure out a way to use this back leg just a little bit more, you're going to see a big jump in your velocity. And going back to that mass equals gas formula, earlier in CC Sabathia's career, he was throwing 96, 97, and then he lost a bunch of weight, and he wasn't throwing the same amount just because of that mass equals gas. There's a formula that was done by a guy by the name, I believe, of Dan Blewett. I believe that's the guy's name. I can actually look here in my book for you real quick. Where do I have it? Dan Blewett. and it's a velocity pitching predictor. And the study talks about that guys like Aroldis Chapman throw with he throws with 51% of his entire body weight. Which, how you do that math, you figure out your velocity and then you divide that by your weight. And basically his thesis and his hypothesis was that 1 mile an hour equals 1 kilogram, which is 2.2 pounds. So for the average 90 mile per hour fastball, the average guy with a height of about 6'3", which is the average height for a baseball pitcher, is 192.2 pounds. For 95, it's 209.3, and for 100, it's 220.3. So we're fine on that. So if you wanted to figure out your predicted pitching velocity, what you would do, because the average, and why I say the average of all these is because the average for throwing body weight in pounds is 45.4%. So you would take your body weight, whatever your body weight is, times that by 0.454, and that would give your predicted pitching velocity, or what it should be most likely. Now, of course, there's a lot of things that factor in it. Height, mechanics, mobility. Maybe that's something we can work on a little bit, is getting more mobile. And I'm not necessarily talking about in shape. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about getting our hips into it a little bit more. That's what really mobility talks about there. Proper warm-up, strength and power. We have a lot of strength and power, so we're great on that. Health, shape, fitness, mass equals gas, and then force created and exerted. And the big things for you is really force created and exerted and strength and power, because we have a lot of strength and power, but we're not really creating enough force. And how do we create force? By using this back leg here. It's kind of like if you shoot a gun, the barrel doesn't do the work. The barrel doesn't give the power of the gun. It's what the butt of the gun does, right? That's where all the power comes from. And that's similar to our legs. Our arms are the barrel of the gun, and our legs are that butt of the gun that, well, I say the butt of the gun, but hopefully you kind of get where I'm coming with that. That's the best analogy I can give for that. So really, for you, Mesa, the number one thing we need to work on is just really working and getting back in our back leg as best as possible and really just driving, because we have so much power, Mesa. You have so much power that you're just not using. And if we get that, I guarantee you, and I would put money on it, you jump 5 miles an hour in velocity, at the very least 5 miles an hour, just because of how much power you have. But other than that, the glove is the other thing that we just need to work on, and tucking it. But other than that, I really like your mechanics, Mesa. Very sound mechanics, very fluid mechanics. And if we fix those few things, we're going to be in business. I will tell you that. So keep working, bud.